Most compost piles don't fail because of what people add. They fail because the four core ingredients are never balanced at the same time. You can have perfect kitchen scraps and still end up with a slow, smelly mess if one element is off. What rarely gets explained is that composting is not about throwing things together, it's about managing a living system. The microbes doing the work need fuel, protein, water, and air all at once. Miss one, and the entire process slows down or collapses. The difference between a pile that finishes in 4 weeks and one that sits for 4 months comes down to how well these four ingredients, carbon, nitrogen, water, and oxygen, are controlled. Most gardeners understand them individually, but very few actually apply them together in a way that keeps microbial activity consistent from start to finish. That's where results change dramatically. Before going further, there's a faster way to stabilize all four at once, especially if consistency has been a problem. The Ouken 4L electric composter handles mixing, moisture balance, and breakdown in a controlled environment, producing fine, usable material quickly without odor. The link to get the exact unit used here is in the description, and if it's ordered through that link, it helps support more of these videos. Also, subscribe to the email list for more detailed gardening and woodworking guides that go beyond surface-level tips. The link is in the description as well. Carbon is what keeps the entire system from collapsing into rot. Carbon is often treated as filler, but it's the structural backbone of the compost pile. It feeds microbes slowly, balances nitrogen, and most importantly, prevents the pile from turning anaerobic. Dry leaves, shredded cardboard, straw, and paper all fall into this category, but the key detail most people miss is particle size and volume. Whole leaves mat together and block airflow, while shredded material creates space and allows microbes to spread evenly. In practical terms, carbon should dominate your pile. About 2/3 of the volume should be brown, dry material. If you're adding a bucket of kitchen scraps, you should be adding roughly 2 buckets of shredded dry matter alongside it. This isn't optional. If carbon is too low, the pile becomes wet, dense, and oxygen-starved. That's when smells start and decomposition slows instead of speeding up. Nitrogen is what actually drives the speed of decomposition. Nitrogen is where the action happens. It's the protein source for microbes, and without it, nothing breaks down at a meaningful pace. Green materials like vegetable scraps, grass clippings, coffee grounds, and even fresh weeds provide this nitrogen. But here's where most people get it wrong. They overload nitrogen thinking it will speed things up. Too much nitrogen without enough carbon creates heat spikes followed by collapse. The pile turns slimy, starts smelling, and microbial diversity drops. The balance that actually works is roughly 1 part nitrogen to 3 parts carbon by volume. If you're working with 10 liters of greens, you should be pairing that with about 30 liters of browns. This keeps microbial activity stable instead of chaotic. Water is not just moisture, it's what allows microbes to function at all. Dry compost doesn't work. Microbes need moisture to move, feed, and reproduce. But excess water is just as damaging because it pushes out oxygen and creates anaerobic conditions. The correct level is simple but often ignored. The pile should feel like a wrung-out sponge, not dripping, not dusty, but evenly damp throughout. In practice, this means adding water gradually as you build the pile, not dumping it in at the end. Each layer should be lightly moistened, especially if you're working with dry cardboard or straw. In hotter climates, moisture loss happens fast, so covering the pile with cardboard or a breathable fabric helps retain water without trapping too much heat. In wetter conditions, the focus shifts to preventing saturation by adding extra carbon and ensuring drainage. Oxygen is what separates composting from rotting. This is where many piles quietly fail. Without oxygen, the system shifts from aerobic to anaerobic, and instead of clean decomposition, you get slow rot and strong odors. Oxygen doesn't come from the surface. It needs to move through the entire pile. That's why structure matters just as much as ingredients. Turning the pile helps, but constant turning is not necessary if the structure is built correctly. Starting with a coarse base layer, small sticks or chunky material, creates airflow from the bottom. Shredded carbon materials prevent compaction in the middle. Then occasional turning every couple of weeks is enough to refresh oxygen levels. Overturning can actually cool the pile too often and slow things down. Electric composters handle this differently by rotating and aerating internally. which keeps oxygen levels consistent without manual effort. That's one of the reasons they produce faster, more uniform results compared to traditional piles. When all four ingredients are balanced, the pile starts working on its own. Once carbon, nitrogen, water, and oxygen are aligned, composting becomes predictable. The pile heats up within a few days, often reaching temperatures between 50 and 60 degrees Celsius. That heat isn't just a sign of activity, it's what breaks down tougher materials and reduces pathogens. If the pile doesn't heat, something is off. Usually it's either too dry, too small, or lacking nitrogen. If it smells, it's almost always too wet or too compacted. These signals tell you exactly what to adjust, and once corrected, the system stabilizes quickly. A properly balanced pile will start shrinking within the first 2 weeks. Materials lose structure, colors darken, and the smell shifts from raw organic waste to something earthy and neutral. That's when you know the microbes are doing their job efficiently. This is how to actually build a pile that works from the start. Start with a base layer that allows airflow, then alternate greens and browns in layers about 10 to 15 centimeters thick. Lightly moisten each layer as it goes in. Add a small amount of finished compost or garden soil to introduce active microbes right away. Then cover the pile to maintain moisture while allowing airflow. From there, the job is simple: monitor and adjust. If it dries out, add water. If it smells, add carbon and mix. If it slows down, check the ratio and adjust nitrogen. There's no guesswork when you understand how the four ingredients interact. Most compost problems are just one imbalance repeated over time. What looks like complicated composting issues usually comes down to one missing element. A pile that never breaks down is almost always too dry or too carbon heavy. A pile that smells is too wet or too nitrogen heavy. A pile that attracts flies is exposed and unbalanced. Once these patterns are understood, fixing them becomes straightforward. You're not experimenting, you're correcting specific conditions. That's what separates consistent composting from trial and error piles that never quite work. Finished compost tells you everything about how well you manage the process. When compost is ready, it doesn't look like scraps anymore. It's dark, crumbly, and holds moisture without clumping. The smell is earthy, not sour or sharp. At this stage, it can be mixed directly into soil at about 5 to 10 liters per square meter, or used as a top dressing around plants. This is where the real benefit shows. Soil structure improves, water retention increases, and plant growth becomes more consistent. The effort put into balancing those four ingredients pays off directly in better yields and healthier plants. Composting isn't complicated, but it is precise. Carbon, nitrogen, water, and oxygen are not optional. They are the system. When they're balanced, everything works. When one is missing, everything slows down. This is why some gardeners produce rich compost consistently while others struggle with piles that never finish. It's not about effort, it's about understanding what actually drives decomposition. If this clarified what's been holding your compost back, share this video with someone still guessing their way through it. For deeper guides, practical setups, and the exact methods used here, subscribe to the email list in the description. Better compost leads to better soil, and better soil is what makes everything else in the garden easier. Yeah.